Well, this is the start of my boat building tale. A couple of years ago, I was sitting around thinking about getting all my kids and grandkids all in and having a boat big enough where we could ride around, go camp out on islands, fish, run rivers, lakes, just have a good time in. Oh, the boat's just too small. So I started looking at some boats. Didn't really find anything that would meet what I was looking to do with it. And I'm pretty cheap. If I had, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But I built cabinets for 40 years. So I said, well, I'll just build my own boat. So this is what I've done. It's 18 foot long. Across the bottom is 5 foot. Across the top rails, it's 6'3". The bottom of the boat is half-inch plywood, 2 layers of half-inch plywood, so it's 1 inch thick. Everything was overlapped, glued, screwed, mitered. Been on pretty good. Where this X is, I'm gonna have a glass see-through panel. I believe in mermaids. We'll have to see about that. Probably use Lexan in the bottom layer, and then I'll probably put some tempered glass on the top. Keep it from getting scratched up. Sides are 28 inches deep. I didn't want the grandkids to be dancing around or me to dance around and fall in, so made those pretty deep. Got 2 on either side. They'll be seats, storage with sliding doors. The front deck is slanted in. These seats will be slanted in, all just for drainage. Sides are half-inch plywood. Here's where the console for the steering wheel and throttle will be. I'll build that this winter. Of course, right here will be where the captain's chair is, and I'll probably do everything that the captain tells me to do. We'll see. Back here, this will be got this slanted, be Walmanized plywood. Gas tank, couple of batteries, bilge pump, storage over here. Instead of just gusseting the back, I'm gonna go all the way across with a solid top. Give them more places to sit on or dance on or put stuff on. And my transom is slanted 10 degrees. Probably put about a 50 horse motor on it. My top rails are treated pine, been grooved in, screwed. This whole thing is stout. I've got a pile of adhesium tubes. I think I've used 18 tubes of glue on it so far. And everything's been tongue and grooved, mortised, brackets, diagonal, everything. It's really stout. Not worried about it staying together. Let's see. Yeah, I don't want to step on her. She's Catahoula. She loves me, but if I stepped on her, she'd bite me. I got a adequate tow hook. I've heard enough boat stories to know I need one of those. I've used to fool with military Jeeps and stuff, so got a Jeep part on it. So that's kind of where we're at on it. I started it 1st of July, this end of August. Tonight, the plan is, friends of mine are coming over, and we're gonna flip it. What I'm hoping. Then I'll start fiberglassing the bottom, getting that worked out. A couple of weeks to do that, and then It it'll be pretty close to deer season, and been known to deer hunt. Probably shut down the boat building for a little while, but that's where we're at on it, and we'll see how it goes. Well, I think I'm gonna call it finished on the bottom of this boat building project. I hadn't been in a big hurry, changed my mind a lot on things, how we're gonna do things, and what kind of materials to use. But I think I finally satisfied with it, and calling it done. So from the front here, I just welded me up a plate with a wire loop for the winch rope. Go up here, a friend of mine gave me a bunch of diamond plate aluminum. So I've made me a stump bumper to protect the front, and then I got a piece of it for a skid plate all the way back to the glass panel. Now, it's possible I've got some kind of a problem about mermaids. I just know that if I happen to run across one or over one, then I want to see it. Got my panel in that I'm positive that it's not going to leak. I've got that glass completely bedded in with some Gorilla Glue Ultimate Construction Adhesive. It is about the stickiest, toughest glue that I have been able to find. And I'm not worried about it leaking. Hopefully it's not going to break. The kill strips here I've got, of course there's 2 layers of 1/2-inch plywood, and to make my bottoms, it's 1 inch thick. That joint is either on the bottom or the inside of the boat, on one side or the other, runs full length of the boat. So this keel strip centers that, gives it more stability and protection. The only other joint that's in the bottom of this boat is right here. Of course, this is overlapped with the other piece of 1/2 inch, and there's a 2x4 on the inside of the boat. This has been glued and screwed from both sides, so the bottom of the boat is really stable. It's really going to be strong. Kind of a thing I did as an afterthought. Seemed like the thing to do at the time. My transition from my skid plate to the edge of the boat, I added a piece of aluminum. There's no doubt that there's going to be going to bump across things and dent the edge of the boat. So to stop worrying about that, just put this aluminum piece on. That's going to take care of that. Now, I used polyester rosin to waterproof the bottom of this boat, and that's against a lot of recommendations from YouTube boat building forums. The cons on polyester rosin is that it's not waterproof and it won't stick to wood. The pros on it is it's a whole lot cheaper than epoxy rosin, and it's UV resistant. And I'm not saying that the people who made the reviews didn't have problems with polyester rosin, or maybe their cousin didn't have a problem with it. I'm just saying I ran tests on it, and it really sticks to wood. My wood here, it's really on there. I used 8 layers of polyester rosin. I'd put 2 layers on, I'd sand it and put 2 more layers on. So it's really thick, really seems to be durable. The waterproof issue that that they talk, it had me worried. But when I was doing my polyester rosin, I was mixing it up in these little cups. There was a big old hole in the bottom of this one that's just got one thin layer polyester rosin covering it. I filled it up with water a month and a half ago, and it hadn't leaked a drop. So I figure if that will one little layer is waterproof, 8 layers on a boat that's just going to be trailered in and out of lakes and rivers, I'm not worried about that leaking anymore. Which kind of leads me to have a little rant about YouTube video reviews. I really hadn't been able to find a good overwhelming review on anything. Whether it's nails or pistols or paint or toothpaste, there's always a whole bunch of cons to counter the pros on anything. And I never ought to, but I never have Google searched a review on Nancy Sinatra. That ought to be a 100% positive review. If there happens to be 5%, 10%, 20% cons on Nancy Sinatra, then it just proves it's completely impossible to have an overwhelming positive review on anything. That's my 2 cents on that. I also added a center keel piece that's it overlaps where the glass panel is. So if I'm moving and having to run over something, that'll just act like a jumper skid and should protect that glass just a little bit more. Didn't worry about waterproofing that piece. I know it's going to get skin up on concrete launch ramps, gravel bars, and things. So, and it's just treated pine. If it happens to wear down to a nub, and I can just replace it, it's no big deal. It's got the sides painted. And everything's completed on the bottom of the boat. I'm ready to turn it back over, finish the inside, put a motor on it, and be cruising by springtime.